We're talking about top one-to-one strikers, initially in the Premier League, but we're looking a bit further back than that, aren't we, Steve the cabbie? But I have to agree with you. Good morning, great show as usual. Even as a Spurs fan, I have to say the best one-on-one finisher was the great man himself, George Best, and he absolutely was sensational. Mind you, he'd normally beat the keeper twice before he stuck it in the net. But
He did. I remember the goal he scored, I swear, Jeff, where he beat 2 or 3 players. It must have been against Chelsea, and Ron Harris just about comes in to break both his legs and his chest with a tackle in the last minute. Best, and was it against Northampton he scored the 4-5-6? Oh, mate, it can't get any better than that, can it?
Yeah, absolutely. And when players tried to kick Georgie, he just loved it. He just revelled in it, you know.
That's Jeff. I mean, clearly I'm a dinosaur, but I take great pleasure in showing my boys Best, you know, some of the tackles that I mentioned, but also the pitches that he played on.
Yeah.
Can you imagine somebody like George Best on those pitches today?
Yeah. And the ball, which was like a medicine ball on those wet, muddy days. It was crazy. Greeno, the postie, says, come on, boys, one-on-one, got to be Andy Cole. So underrated. Let's continue our reaction to the FA Cup final, but turn our attention to the losers, shall we? Pep Guardiola, not surprisingly, very unhappy the weekend, seemed to clash with Dean Henderson at full-time. This is what he had to say about the defeat to talkSPORT's Faker Carruthers.
Sad, disappointed, of course. Should not be differently. If they were happy, we'll have a problem. So, but continue.
79% possession. How frustrated are you that you couldn't convert that?
Possessions to create chances. Possession without great chances is useless. And we create the chances a lot. Against 10 players there, 11, but unfortunately we couldn't win.
Pep, obviously he's going to be disappointed, you know, he's a perfectionist and he is a winner. There's no question about that. Does he take much of the responsibility for the defeat, do you think, Coisty?
I think he's got to. Absolutely. If you give him credit, rightly so, when they're winning things, you've got to ask 1 or 2 questions that, when things don't go their way. So, and as you know better than me, Jeff, the buck always stops at the manager anyway. So yes is the answer to that question. He must take responsibility for the defeat. Clearly, the players, if they're not carrying out his request, then that's a problem. But I just think, and I mentioned it earlier on today, Jeff, I just think City are now, they've become slightly easy to play against if you can have a really, really strong defence and are able, to counter the way teams like Palace can. I mean, like Ismaila Sarr and Eze are great players, but particularly on the right-hand side, Munoz, I thought, was exceptional, got himself forward at the right times. They were really, really organised defensively. Goalkeeper was out of this world. I mean, you've got 3 defenders like Richards, Lacroix and Gay. Effectively they can handle the majority of what City, they did, where they handled just about everything that City threw at them. The penalty aside, which I still claim, I believe that he got a touch on the ball, whether he caught him right after it. He definitely, but the VAR said he didn't get a touch on the ball. I thought he did, Jeff. Might still have been a penalty, but I still thought he got a touch on the ball. But again, back to City, they're not creating nearly enough. It's as if they're kind of hell-bent on scoring the perfect goal. Now, for somebody like Haaland, Jeff, I find it difficult because obviously the quicker they can get the ball up to him and the quicker they can crosses into the box, it'd be more beneficial to him. But the amount of times it goes wide, Doku's really direct. He really is. But apart from that, they'll come out, they'll go out the other side, and I get it. It's possession of the ball and they're trying to score a perfect goal. But sometimes you've just got to put a delivery. Yeah. Look at the Palace goal, for example. The Palace goal was a perfect example now. Just a long ball. They sucked him in a little bit. A long ball to Mateta. He holds it up. Munoz is released on the right-hand side. Delivery in as he scores. Simple, straightforward, done at pace. City don't do that.
Questions asked about why Erling Haaland didn't take the penalty. This is what Pep had to say.
They decide. I like the courage the player had to take a penalty, and I don't know, they decide.
Was that the turning point in the game, do you feel?
Well, we'll be better. The turning point is the first time they crossed the halfway, scored a goal.
FA Cup final, and they decided. I mean, as a manager, you must be fuming, mustn't you? You would have never given up the chance to take a spot kick, would you, Coisty?
No, this is my point, Jeff, right? I actually don't have a problem with Marmoush taking the penalty. I have a problem with Haaland letting him take the penalty and not taking it himself. That's where I've got a problem. I mean, unless, unbeknown to us, you know, he didn't feel mentally right to take it, then I can understand that. But for somebody that hasn't scored at Wembley, I just thought an out-and-out centre-forward whose job it is to score goals, loves scoring goals, that, you know, he lives and dies by his goals. It baffles me. It baffles me. As I say, I don't have a problem with Marmoush, you know, wanting the responsibility. Yeah, I'll take it. Don't have a problem with that at all. In fact, that's quite good. But I have a problem with the centre-forward letting him take it and not take it himself.
Yeah.
That's why I'd ask a question, mate.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.